Unlike every other OFM video you'll ever see on YouTube, I will start the video off with actual results. Everybody has these fucking claims, but they don't have any results to back up anything that they're saying. So I don't even know what gives them the credibility to even say or the audacity to speak on a subject that they have no idea. They're trying to sell you a course and they have nothing wrong with selling the course, but if you literally do not have a working strategy, what are you selling? Why are you scamming people? So starting this off, I'm gonna give you a refresh. This account we started 37 days ago. Exactly 37 days ago today. So March 17th, we've already generated $139,000 in profit. The creator on here that we talk about is a salary-based creator, so we only pay her like $30,000. We only pay her like $3,500 a month, and outside of that, we have 85% profit margins on this entire page. How the hell did we do this? Now, I do not like talking about traditional style OFM, and that's what everybody is trying to sell. The issue with traditional OFM is the profit margins are so incredibly razor thin. There was a point in time when I was doing traditional style OFM and we had about $3 million a month in revenue and I was profiting about $20,000 to $30,000. It doesn't work. It doesn't make you a lot of money. There's a few things that you can do to make a lot of money with actually having less work. Now, let's kind of get into it. So, and by the way, if you are interested in this page, like a more in-depth guide, I'm going to link in the description to another YouTube video on this channel that goes into this exact strategy that we used. But let's kind of get into the difference between traditional OFM and what I'm offering and what I like to run. So first and foremost, outdated and traditional OFM is pretty much just you go into immediately the basics, and especially if you don't know anything about OFM, you go into exactly the fundamentals of OFM. You absorb a little bit of a knowledge. You do general outreach, and typically you try to sign established creators. Now, the problem with signing established creators is, one, you're entirely reliant on somebody else's effort. So if you want to sign a girl who's making 30, 40K a month, you need to understand that the reason she's making 34, 40K a month is because of the efforts that she's put in. What is an established creator? Let's backtrack. An established creator is somebody who's already making money, who already has an OF page, and is typically already with a management. But she's not happy with her management, so she's looking for somebody else. You then sign her for like 30%. The only reason why you can only sign them for 30% is because they are providing all of the traffic. Traffic are fans. If all of the fans are coming from the model and she's doing all of the work, all you're realistically doing is providing chatters and kind of inflating her income. You're still not doing the hardest and most important part, and that's driving the traffic. Therefore, you're not allowed to take a massive percentage. To some degree, you can get, a 30, 40% split, which may be considered high in your book, not for me. But typically, they're not going to want to give up a bigger cut because they're doing all of the work, right? Now, the problem with that is secondarily is if she ends up getting demotivated or he ends up getting demotivated and stops working and stops putting in the effort, guess what? Your income takes a hit, which means you are actually, once again, just an employee. As soon as the business starts taking a hit, your income goes down. There's no fun in that, right? So this is kind of the standard operation for traditional, agencies, and you do outreach through a wide array of different types. So first, if we take a look here, so you just use friends of friends. You do outreach through friends of friends. You can just post on your Snapchat, talk to the friends that you have in real life. Maybe they're interested, or if they have friends as well, and then you can maybe even pay them and be like, hey, I'll give you $100 if you find me somebody that's willing to do, OFM. Or you can use dating apps. These type of things right here still apply to what I'm going to go into, so it is still important. So dating apps is awesome. You can build, rapport with a person, and if your relationship doesn't end up going that well or whatever it may be, you can introduce the idea of starting an OF page, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to be interested. That's how my roommate actually signs all of his creators. He takes them out on dates. If he doesn't end up liking them, He just asks them about OF, and then they 9 times out of 10 sign. It's pretty crazy. Next thing you do is you can set up an Instagram page that looks exactly like a real OF creator. You'll find another OF creator that's legit. Pretty much download all of our content, post it on your page, buy fake followers, buy fake views, buy fake likes, set this page up to look seriously authentic with fake comments, everything. And then you'll then do outreach. You can find creators on like OnlyFinder, for an example, and then you can go into the top or the trending creators. It has every single OF creator that ever existed is on this platform because it automatically scrapes them. And so anyway, you also get their Instagram. So you can do outreach. You're not going to do outreach like you're selling a pitch. Instead, you're actually going to be talking to them, trying to become friends with them, and then introducing, the fact that your agency has made you this much money, and then curious, how well their agency is doing, and then you effectively take them away from their agency because you guys have built a relationship. Or you can set up an Instagram account. Now, every single one of these outreach methods going down gets harder and harder and harder. So setting up an agency page is incredibly difficult. You need to have, and that's the same with this as well. Agency pages and personal pages are so incredibly difficult because the amount of credibility that you need to have, you got to understand that there are so many people that are reaching out to these models. For an example, if you were to open up one of these creators' Instagram DMs, she probably has 1,000, 2,000 Instagram DMs. She's not going to see your agency, and how many agencies are reaching out to her, right? It's very difficult. You need to have a very well-established name and setup. I'd recommend straying away from both of these. If you are doing personal account outreach, once again, incredibly difficult. You need to be the man. It's really easy when you're a girl sending another girl a DM because they don't get very many girls that are messaging them, so they actually see it. Now, if worse comes to worse, you seriously cannot sign a model. Now, remember, this outreach does apply to the OFM that I am discussing in here. I will deviate and split up the pieces that are just traditional and ridiculous and compared to what we do. Now, model marketplaces work. They're your last effort. They 100% work all of the time. There are Telegram groups, and I can link them and whatnot, but they're Telegram groups where you can just buy a creator for like $100 because they offer up their contracts. Now, this is where it starts getting into like traditional bullcrap. So first, you need to do all this content collection. Every OFM guy will tell you, this is how you're going to collect content, this kind of content. Now, I have chatting teams for you to use. All you need is a creator. I will give you a chatting team. If you don't know what a chatting team is, I'm going to sum all of this up really quickly for you. A chatting team is a agency that hires a ton of Filipinos and Germans and Ukrainians that will sit on the back of the OF page, and anytime somebody subscribes to the OnlyFans page, those people that are sitting on the page will talk to them and extract as much money out of them as possible. That sums up this whole thing that people are charging you for. Do not do this yourself. Simply hire a chatting agency and they'll do it for you. And they don't take any more money than the page is making. They only take 15% of tips and messages, which means if your page only makes $100, you're only going to give them $15, right? And they did all that management for you. Now, creating an OnlyFans page, we're not going to go into that. Marketing, this is where it is it's so fucking ridiculous, and this is traditional OFM. Organic traffic, paid advertisements, personal outreach. Oh man. So let's take a look here. The organic, posting or having models create Instagram reels, TikToks, Reddit posts, X posts, Snapchat, making YouTube videos. This is so much effort needed from the creator. They're not going to do it for long term. And if you don't get results immediately, you can say goodbye to the creator. Not only that, if all of her subscribers start coming from her social media pages, guess what? She's now going to want a bigger income because she's doing the hardest part of the job. Not only that, if she decides to leave you, she's going to come to a realization that she doesn't need you because she's driving all of the traffic. Therefore, she can just go do this again with somebody else who's willing to give her a higher percentage, right? So people are teaching you these Instagram methods of having the girls do this, and this. But guess what? You're now reliant on her once again. If she falls off, so did you. Now, same thing with paid advertisements. None of these platforms really work in a way that I'm going to show you. OnlyFinder, honestly, is not bad. But once again, 85% profit margins? Fuck no. Personal outreach. This is the worst one. Having the girls do OF shout-outs on their personal accounts because they're going to run out of fans. I don't care if the girl that you sign has 100,000 Instagram followers. Give it a month and her income is going to completely tank, okay? You need new traffic. Now, here's where we get into gray hat and black hat. I am a little bit more fond of this, running dating apps. The problem is this is way too meticulous. Content repurposing on Reels is way too meticulous, and Instagram specifically uses a platform called Ogly. It's their algorithm detection system that will detect 95% of repurposed content. So when they tell you to repurpose content and use Tick Fusion and it works, it does not work. They are absolutely lying to you. Now, follow is incredible. We'll kind of go into that here in a moment. And then nude Reels is also incredible. Once again, you're reliant on the creator. And then running Cupid is absolutely a must. Now, we'll also go into that as well. Black hat, we don't do any black hat marketing. And then how do you make money? Very basic stuff. So here we go. This is traditional OFM, and I'm going to sum it up for you. Find a creator who's already making some money. Sign her for 25 to 30%. Hire chatters that only take 15%, and then you take that override, that premium on, that premium difference between the chatting and the percentage that you're getting, and then that's your profit. So for an example, if a creator is making $100,000, that would be $30,000 to you, and then minus $15,000 to the chatters, which means you profit $15,000. Now, on a page making $100,000, you are not going to be happy with $15,000 because, for an example, like the page I showed you, this page made $139,000. I kept $125,000, right? So, now, what's the difference? We run a variety of strategies that are 100% agency dependent, which means every subscriber that comes into that page is directly coming from your efforts, not the model's efforts. Now, what does this mean? It means you can sign creators for a salary, and I'm going to give you a little trick. Do not sign girls that are in Miami. Do not sign girls that have any idea what OF is. And the reason why is because they are going to be under the influence that they need to be making $10,000 to $30,000 a month to even survive. Now, that is not the case. If you find a girl who works down at your local Starbucks, who has no idea that there are people making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, she is completely brainwashed by the system. You can offer her a regular person's salary, and she'll be more than complacent with it. Now, let's talk about one of the most basic, and I have a lot of these strategies, but here is literally the most basic strategy to go from 0 to 100K a month in profit within your first 30 days. This is the exact strategy that I used on this platform. I'm going to sum it up, but I have a more in-depth video in the description. So you take an iPhone, and I'm just going to show you just how much more simple it sounds, because I want you to compare this video to all of those other videos that people are, in the OFM space are, preaching, and how you drive traffic in their complex systems, which don't actually provide any results. Otherwise, they'd show results in their videos, but they do not. So first and foremost, you literally jailbreak your iPhone. You buy an iPhone, you jailbreak it. This takes 10, 15 seconds. No, I'm joking. It takes like 5 minutes. You jailbreak your iPhone. There's also 1.5 million videos online of how to do this. You buy Instagram accounts from Accounts Market. Now, after you have these Instagram accounts, you simply set these accounts up to look like the model. Okay, so you're going to take a few photos that look like they're the model. You're going to post these photos on the Instagram. You can, let's say you buy 100 accounts here, which you want to buy, the more accounts that you have, the better. So you're going to set up all 100 accounts to look exactly the same, All right. Yes, no, you don't need to spoof the content. No, you do need to, you don't need to, no, you do not need to rearrange the hash or edit the metadata. No, Instagram doesn't give a fuck if you post the same piece of content on a ton of accounts. They do not care. Now, let's backtrack a little bit. Once you jailbreak your iPhone, you're going to install a VPN on it called TunnelBear. You're going to turn that VPN on. Then what you're going to do is you're going to buy these Instagram accounts. Once you have 100 Instagram accounts or 300 Instagram accounts or 1,000 accounts, then what you're going to do is you're going to set up every single account. You're going to set up every single account to look exactly the same. You're going to be using a tool called Crane. Install Crane on your jailbroken iPhone. You're going to log into an Instagram account. You're going to set it up, make it look just like the model. Then you're going to create a new container, and then you're going to log into the next account, and you're going to set it up to look like the model. By the time you're done with this, you're going to have 1,000 accounts that all look like the model. Then what you're going to do is you're going to buy VPSs from Dyn Server. The i7s work perfectly fine. You're then going to just put these accounts on VPSs, okay? Then you're going to install Cupid onto them, Cupid AI. Once Cupid AI is on them, all you're going to do is you're going to use parser.im to scrape a ton of different Instagram users. Then, once you have a ton of different Instagram users, on those accounts that you set up to look like the model, all you're going to do is you're just going to follow people. Okay? Then what's going to happen? These guys, these horny guys are going to follow you back. And then guess what? You have Cupid on there that's going to immediately start chatting to them, and it's going to funnel them to the OF. So let's break this down and let's understand why this works. So we know that there is a real world sales tactic known as door-to-door salesmen. Now, all they do is they go from door to door and they knock and they try to sell. If I show up and I look homeless and I look just completely dirty and unprofessional, and I don't even have anything to sell, and I knock. It doesn't matter if I knock on 10,000 doors, there's nothing for people to buy anyway. Now let's say I have a product, but I still look disgusting. My open rate and my success rate is gonna be incredibly low because I don't look very well. Now, let's continue to compound. Let's say I now dress professional, I have a product to sell, and I'm getting pretty good at communicating. Now my conversion rate's gonna go higher. Now let's compound even more. Let's say I knock on doors, I have a really, really good product that people want, okay? I'm dressed nice, I speak well, I'm confident, and I offer some kind of guarantee. Guess what? Now every few doors that I knock on, I'm gonna start getting sales. So do you understand? When you are doing a strategy like this, you are simply doing door-to-door salesman, and based off of how well you set up the account is your follow back rate. Because guess what? You're already selling a product every single person wants. Take a guess what it is. Now, the most incredible part about this, and what other people don't, for some reason, don't emphasize on, is yes, if you're posting Instagram Reels, you have the possibility of being shadow banned, okay? It doesn't matter if your accounts are shadow banned when it comes to this operation, because regardless, you're doing door-to-door salesman, meaning you're following people and engaging with them. It doesn't matter if your account is shadow banned or not, you will still show up in their notifications, meaning 100% of the time, every single person will see you, okay? So if all they have to do is follow you back, then guess what? You only have to control a few different parameters: the profile picture and the bio. Leave the accounts private. Okay, then when they follow the account and Cupid accepts them, you have 4 to 5 posts on the Instagram account of the model just looking pretty cute, just looking good. Then Cupid is going to take it from there and they're going to funnel. So how well does this work? You have about a 20 to 30% follow back ratio, which means if you have 100 accounts, that's it, only 100 accounts, and it's only like 30 to 60 cents to buy an account. If you have 100 accounts and you follow 50 people per day, 5,000, 20% of that will follow you back. 100 or 1,000 people will follow you back, and then you have a 7% conversion ratio on your follow, or on with Cupid. You're gonna do 50, 70 paid free subs a day. If you turn this into a paid page, your conversion rate's going to be a little bit lower. You're going to do about 30 to 40 paid subs per day. Wow. And you don't need to worry about your account being shadow banned. You don't need to worry about the settings on your iPhone being very specific, so you don't get shadow banned. It's not a meticulous operation. You set up accounts and you follow people, you funnel them to Cupid, and that is it. And then, like I said, boom, $100,000. So traditional OFM is ridiculous because it only allows you to take a percentage from a page, and you're not getting paid from a percentage, especially if you're splitting, majority of the cost with the model as well as, chatting, and then you're also paying for the marketing. That is insane. Given that the creators literally aren't even doing anything either. So anyway, like I said, I have a more in-depth video on this YouTube channel, specifically on this, that you can pretty much just copy and paste. One thing I also want to offer is I do have an education program that is in the description. If you're interested, it goes into this way more in depth, as well as more strategies that are very similar to this, that are not strategies that are so incredibly meticulous that in 6 months or in 1 week they get patched out, because we're not trying to be meticulous here. We're trying to make money and we're trying to get results, and we do not want to deal with operations that just do not last. Every operation that I run, I've been running for 2 years now, and there have been no issues with any of the operations or the strategies that I use. As you can see, I'm the only one in the OFM space that shows results. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.